In Roman Scotland, the Antonine Wall project took no notice of earlier native settlements and cut through pre-existing tribal boundaries. Unlike its stone-built southern neighbour, Hadrian's Wall, the rampart of the Antonine Wall was constructed mostly out of layers of turf and reached a height of 3 metres. Not just a wall, the defences also included a huge ditch nearly 5 metres deep in places, which ran to the north of the wall, and an outer mound constructed from the earth thrown out of the ditch. 17 forts, plus additional fortlets, accommodated the 6,000 to 7,000 men stationed along its length. The Military Way, a service road built to the south of the wall, was another important element, enabling troops to move swiftly along its course, bearing supplies, commands, and most importantly, news. The Antonine Wall was entirely built by members of the 3 Roman legions stationed in Scotland, a labour force of around 7,000 men. During construction, the soldiers lived in leather tents or wooden huts situated inside temporary camps which were enclosed by light defences. The surveyors, engineers, masons, joiners and labourers within their ranks marked out the route, built foundations, shaped stones, cut and lifted heavy wet turf, gathered timber and triumphantly recorded their completion of each section of the wall with a commemorative distance slab. Construction began in AD 142, nearly 2,000 years ago. This was at the order of Roman Emperor Antoninus Pius and took about 12 years to complete. Antoninus never actually visited Britain, whereas his predecessor Hadrian had. Today, you can visit several well-preserved sections of the wall, the most impressive of which is considered to be Rough Castle Fortification. Entrance is free to all of the sites, and the beauty of the Scottish lowlands shines through as you're surrounded by rolling fields, patches of native woodland, and in the distance, the mysterious Ochil Hills in the direction of Stirling. The Antonine Wall was abandoned only 8 years after construction was completed in approximately AD 162. Through the centuries, it's been incorrectly attributed to different historical events and parties. At one point, it was documented that the Britons had built it for their own purposes. It has been referred to as Grimes Dyke and Graham's Dyke, and sometimes it's confused with Hadrian's Wall, which is 130 miles to the south in England. The Antonine Wall was listed as an extension to the UNESCO World Heritage Site, Frontiers of the Roman Empire, on the 7th of July 2008. And I'm glad to say that I only live 10 minutes drive from Rough Castle and 3 minutes drive from other parts of the wall such as Castle Carey and Toll Park. If you're into history of any kind or appreciate a walk in nature, this is a must-see. The only caveat I will put on the Antonine Wall sites is that they are, unfortunately, not suitable for users who need special accessibility, such as wheelchairs, prams, or motorised scooters. You will need wellies or walking boots, and most of the places are waterlogged, even the ones on top of the hills. The paths are muddy, stony tracks or worn patches of grass, which helps you to reimagine what it was like for the Romans who were stationed there. No tarmac in sight. The collection of Antonine Wall landmarks are dog-friendly, but bear in mind this means that on the weekends and school holidays, there will be a lot of dog walkers. We've found that the best time to go is during the week in the off-season, either early in the morning or early afternoon when people are still at school or work. The good thing about the Rough Castle site is that it is large and open and never feels particularly crowded. There's a small burn that runs through the centre, and several springs around the edge. The location is also part of the John Muir Way, so it can be included as part of your route. In the future, I'll be visiting the other Roman sites close to Cumbernauld, so please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in history, travel, and of course, Scotland.